you had the wherewithal to freeze your eggs early on, and do some things that may have been really life-saving for you early on. Can you talk about that and what made you do that?
So I froze my eggs actually several years before I was diagnosed. I had no idea, obviously, that cancer was in my near future.
Mhm.
And for me, it was just, I think, uh, a desire at the age of, I think it was 30 when I froze them. So I was aware that there was this biological clock and that children were not in my near-term future, but that I wanted to be able to preserve that ability and that choice. And I mean, thank goodness I did it because when I was diagnosed estrogen positive breast cancer,
Mhm.
and highly aggressive. It's HER2 positive, so very fast growing. And I don't think my doctors would have been super keen on me taking the time to do a bunch of estrogen based therapies in order to freeze them again once I had these tumors in my lymph nodes. So I was really, really lucky that I had frozen my eggs a few years early. There were some other things I had done, like freezing my stem cells, um, and sequencing my entire DNA line. And all of those things actually were
Wow.
really advantageous for treatment because, and as doctors and scientists learn more about breast cancer, they are making treatments more personalized.
Mhm.
10 years ago, it was kind of like everyone got the same treatment. And so a lot of these things that I was doing was really helpful in getting me in treatment faster and
Yeah.
like more confident that the treatments that I was being given, the particular chemo cocktail, would actually work against my tumor type.
Do you think that AI is going to have, a big role in, um, the lifespan of people being able to detect cancer or any other diseases in the future? I don't know. Are you familiar with I think it's called Prenuvo. Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
Have you
and I
done a scan?
yeah. Do you think that's true? I mean, a lot of people give it criticism like it's not a real thing, but it seems to have saved a lot of people's lives so far.
I don't understand the criticism of it's not a real thing because
Yeah.
it's actually a real thing. You're going in, you're getting a scan, and they're telling you whether or not you have visual tumor cells in your body. Now, of
Right.
course, if you have tiny, tiny clusters of tumor cells, it might not get picked up on an MRI, but that doesn't defeat the purpose of knowing whether you have palpable tumors. I think a lot of the scientific community, there are concerns about these preventative scans for two big reasons, at least as I have interpreted it. One is that these are expensive scans, most people can't afford them. And so, what are we sort of saying as a society that we allow only the wealthy to be able to essentially prevent these cancers or catch them really early when insurance companies are not actually providing this to everyone? The second the second piece, which is actually just fascinating, and I I would love to dive in deeper to understanding this, but there are a lot of studies that show that by increasing preventative scans, you're not actually increasing lifespan. So you're increasing preventative scans in an area, you might be catching cancers earlier, which does help with mortality rate, but they're looking at the overall population. It's the average of the average age of death is the same whether there's preventative scans or not. It's a very strange, like statistical sort of thing that a lot of these doctors and scientists are aware of. So they're saying, well, then why should we be doing these preventative scans that just cause anxiety and stress
Hmm.
if it's not making these massive population changes? I don't totally understand how this works, but it's possible. It's possible that we all get, we know that we all have cancer cells in our bodies. It's possible that we all at different times in our life develop small tumors,
Hmm.
and that maybe the body naturally fights it off.
Right.
And so, what happens if you go and you get a preventative scan, and now all of a sudden you're doing chemo and radiation and all these things, which we know are also not great?
Yeah.
It's just an interesting
Yeah. It'll be very
question.
interesting to see where it goes, where it is 5, 10, 15 years from now.